Hello and welcome to the morning sports briefing here on New Zealand Sports Radio. Hi, I'm Paul and I'll be your host this morning. In the news today, we've got international cricket action with India versus England in the T20s. The NRL, we've got signing news for the Warriors as well as the first game of round two. In the rugby, World Rugby's got a new CEO, and obviously Super Rugby kicks off this evening. The NBA action to cover. As well as golf with the PGA and the European Tour getting underway, and the squash as well with Joel King in action in the Black Ball Open. And this is your best way to start the day up to speed with all of the important sports news. And Joel King was playing in the semi-final of the Black Ball Open over there in Egypt. She came up against the world number one in Nrl Shabini, and unfortunately Shabini proved to be too good for King, winning it 11-5, 11-8, 11-4 in 35 minutes. Joel King looked to have really taken her game to a new level, being making it comfortably through to the semi-finals, but this was a step too far for her this time. Let's hear from Joel King about her thoughts after that game.
Yeah, tough day at the office today against Nrl. She was sharp, and I felt like she, from the first point, was quite confident in what she came out to do. So, yeah, a bit of a lesson, but I don't think it's, I got to learn from this one and keep going forward and build on the great squash that I played all week. Obviously, when you're playing number one in the world, they are number one for a reason. And if anything, she kind of highlighted the areas that still need some work. So, back to the drawing board. It's been overall a really great week for me. I think I played probably some of the best squash I've played in the last few years. So, lots of positives. But if I want to win these big titles, you've got to beat all the players. So, yeah, back to the drawing board, back to Bristol in a couple of days, and looking forward to this next block. Another challenge ahead, and then let's see where it takes us.
So clearly disappointed in that one, but as she says, lots of good things to take away from this tournament for her. Moving on then to the golf and over in Europe, in Africa really, for the European Tour. The Kenya Open is underway. No Kiwi representatives in this one, with Frenchman Herbert, probably the best pronunciation, at 7 under, leading the way in the first round at the moment, with a chasing pack just behind him. So we'll keep you up to date with how that progresses over the weekend. Over in the States, and it will be the Honda Classic, and that's not quite started yet. So action in the PGA Tour as well. The LPGA not in action this weekend. Staying over there in the States, and there were 10 games in the NBA yesterday. Some of the key results: the Bucks beat the 76ers 109 to 105. The Nets beat the Pacers 124 to 115, as well as the Cavaliers taking down the Celtics 117 to 110. Looking at the table then, that means that the Nets and the Bucks managed to close things up slightly with the 76ers in the Eastern Conference. At the moment, 76ers and the Nets both on 28 wins and 13 losses at the top of that table. On the Western side, the Jazz lead the Suns still, and the Lakers in that one. In action today, just 6 games, but including the Trailblazers taking on the Pelicans. That's at 3 p.m. today. That's right, Steve Adams' team there in action. Other key games include the Wizards versus the Jazz, and the Lakers versus the Hornets. Moving over to Australia, and in the NBL, the basketball action over there, that gets back underway today with the Kings versus Melbourne United. That starts at 9:30 p.m. The Breakers will be in action tomorrow at 10 p.m. taking on the Bullets. Staying over there, and don't forget that the A-League also gets back underway tonight with the Western Sydney Wanderers taking on Perth Glory. Wellington Phoenix will be in action on Sunday at 6 p.m. Next, the Phoenix will also be in action next Wednesday against Melbourne Victory, and we'll be having a watch party with the Knicks newsletter because that kicks off at 9 p.m. and the Knicks newsletter comes to you at 9 p.m. every Wednesday. So look forward to that as they do a watch along for the first half of that game. The Nrl Round Two got underway last night with the Eels taking on the Storm, and the Eels won that one in a tight game, 16-12 there in that one, to take now to 2 wins in their 2 games, between the Broncos in round 1 and now the Storm in round 2. The Storm being brought back down to earth after beating the Rabbitohs in round 1. The Warriors are in action tonight at 8 p.m. Up against the Knights. The Warriors also announced a signing of a fullback, with Roger Tuivasa-Sheck leaving. There's a room for another player there, and Reece Walsh from the Broncos has been signed, a youngster who has been given a 3-year deal from next season. He currently is on a development contract with the Brisbane Broncos. So the Warriors going with youth as a replacement for Roger Tuivasa-Sheck there. Over in the Rugby Union and World Rugby have announced who will be replacing Brett Gosper as their CEO. It's going to be Alan Gilpin, who has either been involved with World Rugby or actually working at World Rugby since 2000. So clearly he knows how the organisation works. He has been the interim chief executive since January, and now will be taking on the role full time. He previously was involved as the managing director of the Rugby World Cup since 2016. So moving up now to the top job there. Also, Super Rugby returns this evening with Super Rugby AU. We'll see the blankers the game. I'll be publishing this. Yesterday we had the Super Rugby preview with Cornflake and Shane, so catch them for all the updates about the games, which kicks off this evening at 9:45 with the Rebels versus the Waratahs. And tomorrow, the Hurricanes will be taking on the Chiefs, kicking off at 7 p.m. We'll be live straight after that game with post-match reaction. So do join us for that. Interesting was with Auburn Ledger being picked in the number 10 jersey for the Hurricanes, with their first choice and second choice players both out injured, and the Chiefs welcome back Trask into that 10 jersey as he returns from injury. So interesting matchup in the 10 jerseys, and perhaps a battle for the wooden spoon between those two. In the cricket, and we had the 4th T20 between India and England. India went into bat first, scoring 185 for 8, with Yadav top scoring with 57 for them in that one. Jofra Archer took 4 wickets in his 4 overs for 33 runs there. In reply, and England scored 177 for 8, so coming up just 8 runs short in that one. A close game, but losing wickets all the time really hurt them, whilst Jofra Archer did score 18 off 8 balls at the bottom of the innings there. If you're leaving it to your bowlers, then you're going to be in a bit of trouble, aren't you? Ben Stokes top score with 46, and Jason Roy at the top of the innings also scored 40 in that one. Leading the bowling attack, Thakur took 3 wickets, but it really was Padilla who only gave up 14 runs off his 4 overs, which really helped restrict England's batsmen in that one. That means that the series is now tied at 2-2 with one more game to go. You have now started the day the best way, up to speed with all the important sports news. The weekend is almost here, folks. Yeah, don't forget to say lots of rugby, lots of sport kicking off this evening and into the weekend. As I say, do join us on Saturday evening, as we do a post-match reaction to the Hurricanes versus the Chiefs game straight after the final whistle.